Hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm Dana Subkoyak.
And I'm Danny Koenig.
And we are both RAs in Governor's Hall, and we are going to be presenting to you about how to become an RA. So that's us.
And our picture from being all muddy, which is...
This is from RA training camp, which is one of the coolest things ever, so get excited. We have a question, just to kind of do it instead of an icebreaker. We just want to know what you guys all know about what being an RA is, or like what does it mean to you? Yeah, go ahead.
They get to live in the dorms for free.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
So, like, do you know anything else about, like, what we do, or, like, anything about that?
You enforce quiet hours.
Yes, we do.
It's just mailing. Yeah.
You're like a positive person to like engage the group on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
You're pretty much just a really huge like leadership role for every form.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
There's someone that you can always go to if you're having a problem.
Awesome.
All right.
Wow.
The gist of it. Here's just a little bit of an outline of what we're going to talk about. So we're going to go over kind of like the responsibilities of the RA and more in detail of what the role entails. And then the benefits, the typical time commitment for an average week. Some tips as to how you can become an RA if you're interested in applying, and then getting involved in the application process, and then we'll allow time for questions and answers.
So, first, some responsibilities. There's a lot that, like, RAs do that people may not realize. So, like, first, like, facilities care. So, like, we, like, in the hall and in the dorm rooms, like, we'll help. Like, we have to maintain proper functioning, and sometimes this isn't the prettiest stuff. Like, this could be cleaning up vomit in the bathrooms, and just, like, inform residents about proper keep up. Like, what, you know, we tell you, we enforce, like, recycling, and, you know, like, it's not the custodian's job to clean up all of your mess in the bathroom. So, like, we're kind of like that second person, I would say, to, like, help tell you guys, you know, like, to be respectful.
This is kind of the behind-the-scenes work that not a lot of residents realize RAs have to take care of, but there's a lot of, like, light bulbs that burn out. People will come to you, and then you refer them to the custodian, and just more cleanup and circuit breakers and stuff like that. So it's a little piece of the job that not a lot of people know about, but it does exist.
Yeah.
And then a lot of you probably already know about the role model aspect of the RA position. It's probably one of the main reasons why most people apply to be an RA, is because they want to be a leader on the floor, and they want to be that person to build community, and they want to be there for their residents to help their residents out. So yeah, that's kind of the big part of being an RA, is creating that atmosphere and having someone that being someone that your residents can trust.
There's also hall programming, which I'm sure a lot of you already, you know, might have been in a program already. This could be anything from, like, brick painting, which I know some, maybe you've been a part of that, or there's also, like, educational, like, need-based programs that, like, resident assistants will put on, and that could be just through, that could be through, like, career services on, like, how to build a resume in PowerPoint, or, you know, just about, like, peer diversity educators could come in. So we're the ones that will, like, get in contact with them and, like, set up like, meetings and everything, and then, like, have a good time with you guys.
You guys probably all know about
Yeah.
programs and events and stuff. But then as far as administrative duties go, obviously you have to be on duty when you're an RA, and it's very hall specific as to how that works. I could tell you more in detail how Governor's Hall does it, but if like you are applying to a different hall, it could be way different. So usually you have weekend duties and then weekday duties, and you have to be present at the beginning of the year as well as at the very end of the year. So like that, you have to be able to come to Eau Claire, like I think it's a week and a half before school starts.
We're
and
here
then,
August 18th
yeah,
this year.
and then you are not allowed to leave until the Saturday of finals. So if that is an issue, you might want to consider. But yeah, pretty much it says you're on call 24/7, but really what that more means is that this is a job that you never really clock into and clock out of. You're always kind of on the clock. You have to be available to your residents a majority of the time. Obviously, you are allowed to have like your own downtime, and you need time for yourself, time to focus on academics. But when you're in the building, you are an RA, and kind of have to be ready for whatever comes your way at any minute.
Yeah.
And then there's always staff meetings, and then the more planning of programs.
So here, do you just want to?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. So here's some benefits to being an RA. As mentioned, like we get a double room. You also have a roommate, if you didn't know. But so we have a double room, and the meal plan that we're given is the upper campus, and that's the most recent pricing on the upper campus. So that one is like free for us, but you can also like choose platinum and then just pay a little more, or like declining, right, and then pay a little more. And then we also get $700 like stipend a semester, and access to the think tank. Which, do you guys know what the think tank is? Some of you, okay. It's in Towers, and it's awesome. And they just have everything there for us, like paper, printers, like in color and everything. This is where like a ton of the posters that are like in your halls are like hung up with even everything
Bulletin
from like
boards, door decks.
everything.
Yeah.
They have
A lot of stuff that
Yeah.
you see all over the walls in
Yeah.
the residence halls comes from the think
Yeah.
tank, and RAs and then other exec board members are allowed to use the resources there.
Yep.
Um,
So it's really nice though.
But as far as the meal plan and the stipend goes, your stipend depends on what meal plan you have. So if you have the most expensive meal plan, your stipend is going to be a little bit less, and you get paid every 2 weeks, just like you would with
Yeah.
a normal job. So like if you have the most expensive meal plan, like every 2 weeks you could get $35, whereas if you have like the least expensive meal plan, you could get up to like $70 every 2 weeks. And then it kind of varies in between there,
Yep.
but it averages out to $700 a semester, just to go off of that, if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah. And then like benefits, like when we were doing this, like the benefits that we get from this would be like, it's like an incredible leadership experience. Like, I don't know, I just feel like it's really preparing me for like a real job when I'm older, just because you're going to use what you learned as being an RA in so many different situations, and it's, just the opportunity like to make an impact on a resident's life is like really rewarding, and it's just really nice to be able to get to know so many different kinds of people and like on such a personal basis, and then like of course the great team and staff is like a huge benefit, because like I love everyone that I work with. We all get along really great, and it's like really fun, I would say. We also get really cool t-shirts.
Every RA gets a free t-shirt.
And a free fleece, which is like the housing and residence life, the blue ones, if you've seen them. And yeah, it's just a really great learning experience, like overall, and it's a really fun time.
Mm-hmm. So the benefits are way more than just free room and board.
Yes, definitely.
So about an average week, these are kind of the amount of hours that go into different work that RAs do. So most RAs will attend hall council, and it's about an hour a week. But you don't necessarily have to do every week, but it's really encouraged. And then each hall has weekly staff meetings, which range from about 1 to 2 hours.
Usually 2.
Closer to 2 hours. So that's thrown into your weekly schedule. And then administrative work, which really just varies between planning events, hosting events, putting up posters, taking down posters, little stuff like that. It really depends on the RA and how much time they want to invest into their wing, but that can be from anywhere from like a half hour to 2 hours a week. And then just being there for your residents. You can see there's like a huge range there, 1 to 15 hours a week. Some weeks your residents might not talk to you that much or need your help with anything. Other weeks you might have like 4 residents who really need you and just want to talk to you about something or need you to do something for them, and you might be more busy. But on average, it's about 10 to 20 hours a week. I would say it's closer to 20 hours a week. So if you have a part-time job now and you work like 10 hours a week along with classes, it's more closer to like 20 hours a week outside of classes. Which is why they only allow RAs to have a job that is 10 hours a week outside of the RA job. Because it can get to be a lot on your schedule, and you'll learn very fast that it's hard to balance. Yeah, and then other time commitments include when you're on duty, which isn't included in this 20-hour a week because that will vary depending on halls. In Governors, we have 12 people on staff, so every 12 weekdays we're on duty, and then we have 2 weekends throughout the semester that we're on duty. So being on duty usually starts at 8 p.m. for our hall. It can start at a different time in a different hall. But you're usually you're on rounds and you have to be on call from 8 p.m. to midnight on weekdays.
Okay.
And then on weekends, most halls still stay up till 2 a.m.
Yeah. You get late.
Yeah, and it all depends on the weekend.
And then we also are on call that entire night. So we always have a duty cell phone. So that's, you guys probably know how to get a hold of us if you ever need it. But well, for me, I sleep next to it right by my head in case it rings. So I hear it. But so you're technically on duty till 7 in the morning. But you can sleep.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and then just remember be ready at any moment. When you're on duty, or even like we said, it's not something you clock in and out of. If something's going on on your wing and you're not the person on duty, you're still responsible to either get the person on duty or handle it yourself, because you're not off being alright just because it's not your weekend.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's some tips as to how to get involved, which will help you in the application process. Mainly everybody, getting involved is something just really good to do, but if you want to have the best chance possible of getting hired as an RA, having experience is really going to help you out a lot. So this is just a bunch of different organizations that are good to get involved in. It's not limited to these, and it's not you have to be involved in these to be an RA. These are just the general ones.
Yeah, there's hundreds on campus. Yeah. But it's just, especially, it's really nice, hall council, just as an example, just because you get to know the hall a little bit better, and just how it runs, and it's a leadership role kind of in its own, just as an example.
And just a tip of advice, just because you're involved in one or multiple of these doesn't mean that you're going to be guaranteed an RA position. I've seen people in the past who have 3-page long resumes. of involvement, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best candidate for the RA position. So having this experience is really good, but it's also how you use it, and just kind of the person you let it shape you to be.
So is the RA selection committee, is that what chooses you to be an RA?
Yeah. In Governor's Hall, and each hall does this a little bit differently, but in the spring and at semester 2, each hall will have like their selection process, and what we do is we have 1 to 2 RAs on the selection committee as well as 3 residents. So residents can be on the selection committee to hire the RAs. Obviously, if you're applying to be an RA, you can't be on the selection committee, but if you're a freshman now and you think, maybe I don't want to be an RA next year, but I could be an RA my junior year, being on the selection committee would be a great idea because you get to see the other side of the application process, and it gives you really good insight as to what they're looking for in the interviews, and like just really good deep insight as to what the RA role entails. And it's a good experience to get to know your hall director a little bit better, which really helps. Does anyone have any other questions about that? Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit more about the actual application process and how to go through that.
Yeah. Sorry. So for a lot of halls that you can apply at semester, which is coming up, but that is for second semester students. So like if you're a sophomore pretty much right now, you could apply for semester in some halls. Otherwise, there's a lot more openings at the end of the year when a lot of people graduate. So that when the application probably comes out.
It'll come out in late December, and then
yeah.
it'll be due late January, early February.
Yeah. So that is online, just in like the Housing and Residence Life website. And then you just like have to fill like that whole thing out and everything. It's easy because it's online. But you also have to have like a cover letter like for the specific hall director that you're applying for, and that just depends on which hall. And then also like your resume. And strongly recommended right here to just general information meetings. So this is like when you'll get to kind of meet different hall directors or know what halls have openings or which ones kind of fit you. And like resume writing workshops would be a great idea because like not a lot of people necessarily know how to write a great resume if it's like your first like real resume. So like the career services and stuff here is like a great resource that I highly recommend to use. Same with like interview workshops and career services. But
I would, if you're planning to apply to be an RA at any point, take your resume to career services before you turn it in, without question. Because they're going to let you know exactly what you need to change, and it's going to help you out a lot. You'll be really glad you did it. And then also talk to your RA and ask them if they can give you a practice interview. A lot of RAs would love to do that, and it'll really help you out a lot because you'll be a little bit more prepared going into it. Because it can kind of be intimidating with like
panel of people.
Like there's up to 6 people on the selection committee, and there's one person. You're the one person, and they're all asking you questions. So it's good to get interview practice. So once all of the applications are turned in, is when the interviewing actually starts. So there'll be did we skip letters? Okay. You also have to turn in 3 letters of recommendation, which you'll email people, such as professors, bosses, people like that. And then they'll fill out an evaluation form and turn it in for you. So you want people who know you, not necessarily
family.
Right, don't use family, don't use friends, but you want people who actually know you and have seen you work. Just because you kind of know someone who's higher up in housing doesn't necessarily mean that you should ask them as a reference, because you want someone who can vouch for how you're going to perform as an RA. And someone who's going to be honest about your, your working skills.
Yeah. And it's, like, saying like maybe like a boss you had or a professor, just to get, a couple different aspects of like your work and everything. Like for me, I chose one of my professors that I got to know really well last year because it was like, for writing. So I was like always going in for extra help, and so like that like kind of showed like how I was always like kept trying, So you want to get to know, like a professor maybe on who you know on like a more personal basis, who like helps them out a lot. Would be like a really good like for recommendation letter.
And just to nail in that key point, do not use a friend or family member ever for any job you apply to. But as far as the interviewing goes, each hall has a group interview process and then an individual interview process, and that's a little more specific to each hall, but there. Do you have anything else on that?
Well, like, okay, so like for ours last year, we had like the individual first, and then there were like 2 section of group interviews. This is for Governor's Hall, because that's all I really know. So like the individual one, we kind of talked about, so it's like a panel of people with the hall director, and then it's just you. And the group interview is a little different because usually people haven't really partaken in that before, so it's just there will be like 10 people around, boys and girls who want to be RAs and have also interviewed already, and then you're all together and you have to like, there'll be different scenarios, or you have to like talk through things, even do like programming things just in like groups, just to see how you like interact with others and like get to know you a little bit. Working as a group, because that's like a really big thing as being an RA. So just like working together.
Again, with the interview stuff, talk to your RA and get advice from them when it's closer to the interview process, because they'll be able to help you a lot. So now we've reached our question and answer portion.